Hello and welcome back to the lounge. Today is Saturday, June 30th, and this is Social Saturdays. Welcome back, guys. Today I'm here at La Taberna Giralda. It's located at 254 Giralda Avenue. Karen, tell me a little bit about yourself and about the restaurant.
Well, first of all, we've been in business for now 7 years. We purchased the restaurant in 2012, and we purchased it from another family that was owning the restaurant. I had no idea about anything about the restaurant business, and I actually work in the school system with kids, but I always wanted to have some type of business with my father. So we ended up investing here at the restaurant.
And what were you were working as a teacher before, or a teacher?
I'm a counselor. I'm a counselor for students. I'm actually a licensed clinical social worker. But my family is from Galicia, Spain. So I always had the idea of opening a restaurant even before Spanish tapas was popular. And I actually came to this location several times as a business, as a customer. Yeah. And I fell in love with the spot. And then I noticed and I started to look into different restaurants. And it just so happens that this spot was having a little bit of a difficult time. The owners were splitting. And I just started to watch it until I finally was able to purchase it.
Obviously, you were from a completely different background, being like a counselor in the school system. What were some of the difficulties that you faced going into this?
I think sometimes ignorance is bliss. You know, I knew it was going to be difficult. I had a family friend that was also a server, but he owned a bar in Spain, and he came to work with us, and I thought, you know, that we could be able to pull it together. But there were a lot of difficulties because you to manage a restaurant, it probably is one of the hardest things I've done in my life, and especially as you're learning as you go along. Knowing how to, you know, maintain staff and just the menu. But I was very lucky. I was blessed because I knew I had a friend that was a chef, a Spanish chef, and he helped me create the menu and actually gave me the boost that I needed to open.
So he was kind of like a support system for you in terms of guiding you into what to do and stuff like that?
I don't know what I would have done had it not been for him.
Yeah.
Because he was able to create the menu for me and send me off on the first steps. I thought, you know, well, I'll find a chef. But, well, it's not so easy to just find a chef.
Yeah, true.
And to create a menu and to be on the same page with you. And this, if I would have been able to keep him, but he worked in another restaurant at the time. And he had like a working visa with that restaurant. So he assisted me and helped me throughout the process. And there were a lot of people that helped me, which was amazing. There were people that just knew me, that weren't even close friends, that assisted me throughout my first year, that I'm very thankful to having around. I knew a busboy that worked in another restaurant that knew us as a family, and he would come and help for free. The first couple of months, whenever he was free, he would come and assist. And I had never waited a table, and I waited tables with my family until we were able to hire other guests. Because one of the biggest problems that we had was that we purchased the name. We purchased the restaurant with a name, and the name, you know, had been around for several years, but with like 2 or 3 different owners in a period of 2 years. And they, you know, the ratings for the restaurant were kind of low. And by purchasing the name, some like Yelp, for instance, they would not let you take old reviews down, even if you showed that you were new owners. You had to change the name out.
But you wanted to keep the name.
But I wanted to keep the name because even though it had, even though the restaurant had mixed reviews, the actual restaurant was known by a lot of people that liked Spanish food and Spanish cuisine, and the Spaniards in the area, as La Giralda, the Giralda. So I felt like changing it. I really couldn't think of any other name for the restaurant other than Taberna Giralda. So I kept the name, which was a huge risk, and it worked in some ways. It didn't help in others. It kind of hindered, because a lot of people would pass by, and even when I sat outside, I would hear what people would say, and they knew the restaurant from previous owners. So in order to build the restaurant customer base, it took a while, and it also took a lot of social media work and me learning my way around that, because I had no idea.
So what are you guys working on now? Like, what does the present look like? Because you've already established that you went through like a lot of obstacles to get to where you are now. What are some of the things that you're doing now to maybe keep growing or maybe solidify what you have already?
I think right now we are in a kind of transitional period. I think it's, at first it was about learning, and then it was about stabilizing what you learned and making changes. And then I think that also the construction in the area kind of halted a lot of growth that we had.
Definitely. Yeah.
I would say that in the last 2 years it has been difficult. Changes and maybe even I wanted to put a little awning outside and things like that. I kind of had to hold off until the construction was done for many reasons, because I even think I do anything new, and just the dirt and debris from out front is an issue. But yet, thank God that now everything's coming to an end. As far as construction is,
We're almost there. Almost there.
But it was very difficult, and I think that kind of halted where we were heading. Right now, I'm actually in the process of creating a new menu and making changes to the menu, and I'm very happy with my kitchen staff. He's very creative and has a lot of ideas, and that has really assisted me. And now my focus is more on maybe bringing in these new dishes and creating new atmosphere. We're also changing out the Saturday show and doing new changes just to give it another fresh beginning. And I'm excited about it. In August is our 7th year anniversary. And last year, between the hurricane.
Yeah, the hurricane. Yeah, that was a big one.
Because we purchased the restaurant in August, but we actually opened September 1st.
September 1st.
So September 1st is our actual anniversary.
Yeah.
But last year, around that time, was the hurricane, and then we ended up not celebrating anything between the hurricane and the construction and taking down the wood and all this other stuff, and just one thing after another. We also, I think, as a result of that, we had some issues with the computer system, and so it ended up that we didn't celebrate our anniversary, and I'm hoping to do a celebration this year again for our anniversary.
You mentioned something about a Saturday show. You want to tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. On Thursdays and Saturdays we have a flamenco show. They're 2 different shows. On Thursday it's very interesting because I started that show not too long ago, maybe like 3-4 months, and I have the flamenco dancer and the guitarist are fixed entities. Then the singer is rotating, so every 3 months someone may come from out of town and is doing shows here, and they will be our featured honorary guest. So we had somebody from Andalusia here for 3 months, and now we have another lady now, Ana de Rocio. She's fantastic. And after that, someone else will come in, and I like it because it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
Our Saturdays are right now I have somebody transitional playing, but it's also the same thing. It's a 3-person show where we have a guitarist, a percussionist,
it's all
a dancer.
Day, or?
No, it's from 8:30 p.m. To closing. They do 2 sets. They're 2 different sets. There's no limited amount of time that you can be here. There is a $5 cover fee for the show, but you're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. And I love it because I think Fridays we don't have a show. What we do are wine tastings, complimentary to dining guests. We also feature different wines. And usually they're one of the Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays we have a select group of wines that are 50% off all day. And those wines, we pick 2 or 3 of them to feature on our Friday, or maybe we pick another group of wines and we give a complimentary wine tasting. So if you don't want to have a show, you can come on a Friday. night on the weekend, or if not on Thursdays and Saturdays, we always have a.
Is it like a sit-down show, or are there like people dancing and stuff?
Well, usually it's a sit-down. You get to watch it, and then in the end, there's always a potpourri of songs where people do get up and dance and enjoy. And sometimes we have people in the audience that go on the stage and they play guitar and they sing. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy it a lot. And there are a couple of guests that they love the microphone, so they come on the weekends to sing. So it's cool.
All right, so you told me about the past, what you guys went through, building the restaurant. You've told me about what you're doing right now. What does the future look like for La Taberna?
I'm hopeful that we will continue. I love this spot. I would love to expand. I have thought of having another Giralda. I even thought of maybe doing something down close to Broward, just because I moved over there before I had the restaurant. But I'm hopeful that we can stay here. My biggest concerns, obviously, I think are have to do with things that are going on in the area. I would love to see
foot traffic. You mean?
Foot traffic. I remember when I was a kid, I would walk Miracle Mile with my parents on the weekend, and we would have dinner somewhere in Miracle Mile. But there was a lot of retail, and right now there's a lot of restaurants. And then when you have big name restaurants, the little mom and pop spaces do suffer significantly because everybody knows a big name restaurant versus a smaller restaurant, and they have the power to advertise stronger than we could ever. So that does worry me, but I am hopeful that we'll be able to maintain our status here, and I work hard in trying to learn how to promote our restaurant in social media, because sometimes people that live in the area told me, I've been here 20 years, I didn't know you were here.
Yeah, so, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens to us like 3 times a week, yeah.
Yeah, so, and that to me is amazing, even though we've reached so many people, even though we get in touch, but it makes sense. There are places that you go somewhere and you go to a restaurant and you figure out there's a place, right next door that's really cool and you don't see any information about. Yeah. So I'm hopeful that different interviews and things like this will help spread the word that we're here, and then the community will come and support us and try us out.
Cool. Yeah. Well, you have any last words you want to tell the audience before we wrap this up?
Well, I want to thank you all for listening, and I hope to see you soon here at La Taberna Giralda.
All right. Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you guys for staying tuned to the end of the episode. If you like what we had to say and you want to see more, follow us on Instagram, IGTV at thelounge.media. Follow them.
La Taberna Giralda is also on social media.
Yes.
As either Taberna Giralda or La Taberna Giralda.
Yeah. So follow them, follow us, and we'll catch you guys on Monday for Coffee and Cigars number 10.